What is the most insane thing your own mother has done to you? Suddenly getting married the same week as me. I and my fiancé are getting married in 2 weeks. We have been engaged with our date set for over a year. My mom was the first person we called when we got engaged, and all she said was, "I'm sure I'm the last to know. You're probably sick of hearing congratulations by now." She flew out a couple months later for our engagement party. I was outside with my friend when she stormed outside, past everyone else sobbing, and wouldn't speak to me, except to yell at me to go back inside. Later she told me she was just overwhelmed. Then she met her boyfriend. She told me he makes her feel so loved like my fiancé does for me. But that she was also still seeing a few other people, mostly because her new boyfriend doesn't speak any English and my mom doesn't speak Spanish. They communicate through Google Translate. A few months later my fiancé and I are in my hometown for a childhood friend's wedding. My mother was also invited and brought her boyfriend. I was in the wedding, so my fiancé was stuck next to them for the ceremony. He said they made out the whole time, and whenever they weren't, my mom was complaining. During the reception that they weren't on the dance floor grinding on each other, they were back at their table making out. He even had his hand up her dress on several occasions. I brought up this behavior on the drive home and she said he's Latin. He's just very passionate. While we were in town, my maid of honor, or Mo, decided to throw us a wedding shower. I even made sure the bride whose wedding I was in was okay with it first. But it was a great chance for my fiancé to meet all of me friends, people I haven't seen since before the pandemic the last time I was there. My Mo tried to include my mom in the planning. Mom said she would bring table decorations and tablecloths. She brought them and then immediately sat down and got on her phone. Didn't bother to even get the things out of the car. I asked her to frost cupcakes if she was just going to sit there while I set up tables. She agreed but complained about it the whole time. Once my friends started showing up, she completely ignored everyone and just sat in the corner on her phone. My fiancé went out of his way to try and include her in every conversation. She knew a lot of people there, girls I've been friends with since first grade, people I went to high school with, my Mo's parents, and she just ignored everyone. Then complained to my fiancé that I wasn't spending time with her, even though I had set the day before of our trip aside to specifically spend with her and my younger siblings. After we got back from our trip, I found out I was pregnant. Again, she was the first one I called because I knew she would be upset if she wasn't. I called her several times and she didn't answer, so I called my dad and best friend and told them. When I finally got a hold of her, she said, "Wow. Congrats," in the most monotone voice I've ever heard her use in my whole life. At the end of last month, her and my dad both told me they didn't know if they could afford to come to my wedding. Again, the date has been known for over a year. I don't understand why they didn't work out travel and lodgings in advance, not to mention my mother just moved recently to be closer to her boyfriend's job. I was honestly over all of her behavior at this point, so I figured it would be a good thing if she didn't show and I was at peace with it. But she worked it out and called me this past week to tell me she got the plane tickets for her, my brother, and her boyfriend. Oh, and by the way, that they were getting married in a week. A week before my own wedding. My fiancé and I both cannot wrap our heads around how she could possibly think this is acceptable. She knows how much we've been looking forward to this, and it just feels like I'm not allowed to have anything for myself. She always needs a slice of whatever I get. Now she's going to come to our wedding and tell everyone that she just got married too. I have to warn our photographers not to speak to her because I know she'll tell them she just got married and was wondering if they could take a few pictures of them together. She's going to try to make our wedding her wedding, without having to pay for any of it. It feels like she's jealous and just wishes to be me. I don't know if it's the pregnancy hormones or if it's past trauma to do with her. We have a long history of not getting along. I thought we had been doing well in recent years, until I met my fiancé, but I literally never want to speak to her again after this wedding. I'll definitely be going no contact for at least a little while. I don't know if anyone will even read this novel, but I desperately needed to get it off my chest. 1 week later I called my mom before her wedding and told her it was messed up she decided to get married a week before me. She had to have had this conversation with someone else or knew it was coming because she immediately launched into, "Yeah, I know, but it just kind of happened this way. It wasn't intentional. My friend's mother went to her wedding so she could report back to us." Apparently my mom complained about me the whole time, saying I was mad about nothing, and told her she wasn't allowed to talk about her wedding. Which I did, but she had readily agreed to when we were on the phone, saying she wasn't trying to take any attention from me. My whole family missed the rehearsal, which would have been fine if they just listened to me about the lineup at least one of the 12 times I told them what they were supposed to be doing. This caused an issue at the wedding. Mom threw a fit. Mother-in-law saved the day and set her straight. Mom made it to rehearsal dinner, and after I was finished helping set up, she came up to me, grabbed my stomach and started screeching hello to the baby. I backed up and asked her to please not touch me without permission, and she was very upset. Mom refused to smile in any pictures she was in that her husband was Note Me sister. She's 14 and the youngest threw a fit over the food we served. My dad missed our grand entrance and first dance because he left to get her Subway. I told him it was a good thing I decided to not do a father-daughter dance because he would have missed that too. My whole family left early, which was fine because we were under the impression they all had early flights the next morning, which is why they wouldn't make it to brunch. Well, my mother lied to all of us and put my brother on an early morning flight so she and her husband could travel to NYC and take a little honeymoon. We only found out because one of my bridesmaids and her family ran into her at the Statue of Liberty. My husband is pissed because we would have let my brother stay with us a bit longer, and because my mom lied to his mom's face about why they couldn't attend brunch. My mom has texted me. I haven't responded and don't plan to. All in all, though, absolutely none of this matters to me. I'm married to my best friend. I had my fairy tale wedding, and now in about 4 months we'll have a new baby that I'm over the moon excited for.